five men are kind of like our quarterbacks. They have the ball when we're cutting, and it helps to have him, who's very smart, who's seeing what he's seeing as a quarterback and can relay to us things that he's seeing and how we can get open. And that's one thing I've noticed about Malachi since he stepped on campus, is he's a smart basketball player.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Travis Ford, 12:30. Deuce Williams, 1 o'clock. Doug Barnes, 1:30. Deuce, former linebacker, Kentucky. Doug, former assistant coach at UK under Eddie Sutton. Lovely comment by Colin Chandler. I'm not ready to say, it's easy to do, by the way, and I get the comparisons, like the Michael Jordan game when he was really, really sick and he scored a gazillion points against Utah. Close. And the reason why I'm not saying it, this is not like an NCAA game. If it was that kind of thing, I would say yes. But on the other hand, what a performance. And here's the other thing. I can't believe he came out and talked to the media. He obviously wanted to do it. And knowing Deb Moore, I'm sure she asked him, are you sure? Because he could have said no, and all the players can say no anyway. And he did it anyway. And that's kind of like a wow. I mean, he was ridiculously unbelievable. I mean, he is a changed basketball player. And it started in the game that they lost when he made that unbelievable defensive play, save, long pass to Owe, who missed the layup. And then he made the two big assists for winning buckets, and now he's shooting lights out. You will recall, starting the season, it's like he couldn't miss. And then he went through this long slump. It was a long slump, and he's out of the slump. Folks, when I looked this up last night, I went, whoa, Jimmy, he's now shooting 41.5% from downtown. 41.5% from downtown, and by the way, overall 44%. And it's like he will do anything. And his rebounding last night was just crazy. It was really crazy. I mean, he is a player. And I thought he would become a big-time player this year, but a better player next year when he's stronger. He's much stronger than last year. But I don't care who you are, and I don't care how young you are. If you are 2 years away from playing basketball, as young as he is, you're not back yet. And he would be much further along, there's no question in my mind, and I think anybody's mind who follows basketball, had he not taken the mission. But the mission is his life. The mission is his life. And I respect that, not a little. I respect it tremendously. But what a comment about Marino. Oh, I mean, was it a week ago, Jimmy, 2 weeks ago? I don't recall, but somewhere in that time period, I think it was 2, I talked about how I saw Marino on a draft list, first round, number 20. And I got some direct messages. People are funny, and I'm not being negative. How dare you say that? Like, really, anything Alan Cutler says will influence a player? Stop it. We don't want to hear that now. That's not my job. My job is to talk about sports. I love talking about sports and to be ahead on things. And I could see him being drafted. And I said then, and I say it still now, he needs to get much stronger, but you can get much stronger in the G League. You can't. You get much stronger sitting on the bench. If you're OKC and you have all these draft rights, you can hide him for a year. That's the part if you're a UK fan and you say, oh, no, I want you to stay. I get that, why you would say that. But his numbers are just goofy. He led the team in assists and didn't just lead the team in assists. Nobody else had more than one. He had 6. And he blocked 5 shots. And I got to tell you, I still can't pronounce that guy's name. I heard it on TV a million times. The big kid for Texas. I was really concerned about how Marino would go against him because, is it Matas, whatever? He is the best in the country at going to the free throw line per shot. Malachi was spectacular against him. Not good, but spectacular. Yeah, the kid got 15 and 11, but he only went to the free throw line 6 times. And that was great. That was great. He is Amari Williams light. Now I'm going to go one step further. He might be better by the end of the year than Amari Williams. I'm going to be careful saying this because I think some people will take this the wrong way. I think Amari Williams was a smart basketball player. I think Malachi Marino is a smarter basketball player. If there's a hidden message in here about Amari, there is not. There is not. There is not. You can't teach what Marino has. You just can't. He played 26 minutes and would have played a little bit more if he didn't get in a little foul trouble. He had 4. And you know what? Here's what's really cool. This is a freaking freshman that has learned to play with 4 fouls. Think about it. There's a lot of seniors that don't play well with 4 fouls. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And I applaud him not a little, but tremendously. They're all kind of, let me throw a little hero last night that nobody will talk about. You ready for this? You're going to be surprised. And he's not the number 2 hero, but it's just something I can see I want to point out because most of you probably haven't thought of it. That's not condescending. That's just what I do. Okay, Yelovich had 7 rebounds, and early on, his rebounds were really important, and they only played 17 minutes and 46 seconds. You know what? Jimmy, he might have had the biggest bucket of the game. I'm serious. He might have had the biggest bucket of the game. Because what was going on? First of all, an amazing thing happened last night. Jimmy, we should have started with hallelujah. That's my bad for not asking you to start with hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Don't rate my voice. It's less than a 1. I get it. It's my mom who had a great voice and my aunt who was a quasi opera star. My mom had a better voice. Didn't come down to me. Well, it did, and then I lost it, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, the point is this. Jimmy, this amazing revolutionary thing happened to Kentucky last night. They finally realized that basketball is a 40-minute game. Took long enough, but they got it. And I think they have it. Now, by the way, could there be slippage sometimes during the season? Yes. But do I think they have it? Yeah, it's the continued growth of this team. It's the continued growth of this team. It was 40-40 at the half. And then Kentucky was up, and then a little run by Texas, and Kentucky is down 56-55. Go look at the bucket that Yelovich scored to make it 57-56. He banked it, a little off balance. It was a tough bucket. And how many out there were thinking, not me, that I want Yelovich to take the shot that put him ahead to kind of help change the game? Now, they didn't win because of that shot, but when you get a bucket from somebody who's not your first, second, or third option, and he banked it in, it was not an easy shot. He had the guts. Can I say kahunas? I guess I just said. He had the guts to do what? Take the shot. I thought it was big. I thought he played really well. And now to the thing I put on Twitter. 85.7, 85.7, 85.7. Jimmy, we're in the 4th year. How many times would you guess? Would you say 30 or 40 over a long time period that I have complained about free throw shooting? In general, that's a big thing with, by the way, it was a big thing with me when I was in TV. It just really was. And it became even, I hate to keep on bringing up Nazi. I hate to keep on bringing up Nazi, but he was 0 for 6 in a national championship game against Arizona, and I love Nazi. And if he hits a couple free throws, they win the game in regulation. So, wow. They hit 85.7. Texas averages 29. Kentucky shoots 85.7. Jimmy, how many times have I complained about this? How many times have I complained about free throw shooting?
A lot.
Have you ever heard another sportscaster complain about free throw shooting more than me in your entire life?
No. That's one, I would say, in your top 3 sticking points for basketball talk.
It's the most overlooked thing. And by the way, I said it a lot on TV. There might be a couple national championships Kentucky would want if they hit their free throws. I'm just saying. You got to make free throws. That also tells me about what? The C is improving. Sure, they're going to have slippage. The confidence of the team is improving. That's a confidence thing. It really is a confidence thing. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So we're going to switch. I want to go to Miller. And it's a long soundbite. And I appreciate what he said and how he said it. Jimmy, did you clip out a word?
I did.
Oh, because it was in the middle, and I know you're only doing 8 things at once in the morning. He's talking about his team. And I really like the fact, how many times have you heard when some team goes to the line 30 times and the other team goes to the line 12 times, and the coach will say it wasn't fair. It's something we've heard many, 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 many times. One of the things I like about Sean Miller, and I'm biased, and I've said it, covered him at Pitt, did a story with him at his house in high school. And one of the things I like about him, he is no filter. He is super clinical. And you have to remember, no, not the fact that he's a distant cousin to Calipari, but you have to remember where he comes from. His dad was a famous high school coach in Pennsylvania. So he was born with the ball in his hand. He was. Here's clip number 2 when he's talking about his team, but think about what he says and how he says it.
What our team, and this is a Texas problem, has is we have a virus called fouling. And it has plagued us from the opening tip of the first game until tonight. It's not the officials. It's not Kentucky. We will foul the living out of you. We will foul a three-point shooter. We'll foul at the end of the clock. We'll leave our feet on drives. We'll reach. You describe the foul, and the team that I'm coaching will commit it. Tonight, we lost. Kentucky was 30 for 35 from the line. It's hard to win an SEC road game when the home team is 30 for 35 from the line. I'm not messing around like the officiating. Officiating was fine. It was called the right way. We fouled.
Jimmy, I love that. I really do. I really do. Let's go to clip number 4. It's short. And Jimmy, please save this because somewhere in the course of time, I'm going to play this 50 times. I do this show 4 more years. I love this. One of the things that I hate, and I hate's too strong, especially in today's world. I apologize for using that word. I need to catch myself, Jimmy. The word hate with what's going on in the world is a terrible thing. This is just sports. I can't stand when a coach after the game says, I need to go look at the tape. Well, you watch the damn game. Now, here's the caveat, and I will give coaches this. If you're a football coach, for example, and something's going on in the field and the offense is on and you're looking at the defense or talking to the defensive guy, could you miss something when you say a coach is supposed to see everything? Yes. Yes. If that is true, I back off. But it's BS because that's not always the reason. If it is the reason, fine. I get it. I get it. You want to look at it again, that kind of thing. You really catch it. You were talking to a coach on the thing. You got distracted. It happens. But when your coach is really looking at what's going on and they give you this crap, I need to look at the tape. It's just BS. You're a coach. You have to make decisions instantly. A coach's job to make adjustments instantly. Don't tell me after the fact I should have done this and make the adjustments later. The great coaches, and this is what ADs I don't think know how to hire when they hire. Seriously, I'm not ripping ADs, but how many ADs actually know this? You're interviewing a man or a woman for a coach, and do you know that they know how to switch from a zone to man or a 3-2 or something like that, or those kinds of things? I think a lot of intellectuals don't. I think they don't. I've always thought that. Some do, yes. Most unscientific answer, being doing this for 1,000 years, no. I don't think they do. And I think it's a deficit. And I wonder how many athletics directors talking to someone that they trust say, hey, does this coach know how to make adjustments? And is this one of the better coaches making adjustments that I'm hiring? I'm serious. It's not talked about enough, and it drives me crazy. I love this soundbite. I don't like this soundbite. It is a short soundbite. Listen carefully. This is Miller after the game.
You know, hindsight is always irrelevant, really, right? It's in the rearview mirror.
Hindsight is irrelevant. Jimmy, this might be my favorite soundbite of the year so far. Especially, see, in your gig, you don't sit through press conferences like I have for 1,000 years doing TV, and now I sit through them, looking at tape and stuff like that. I love it. I love it. What he said. Like, guess what? There was something where they switched to his own, and Chandler hit a shot, and he pointed to himself in the press conference and said, that was my fault. I love it. I love it. It's transparent. It's transparent. I wish Pope was that transparent. By the way, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. And he's better than Cal was, okay? But he's not as good as Sean Miller. And I'm not ripping Pope. Promise you. Not ripping Pope, but I'm saying on a sliding scale, I know this and I understand this. So I'm sharing this. I'm just sharing us. I want to play clip number 1 from Miller. I know you're saying a lot of Miller, but there's a purpose for it when you understand what happened to the game. Here's clip number 1 from Sean Miller, last night's Texas coach.
I thought tonight was a really good basketball game on both ends. I thought two teams fought really hard. I'm proud of my guys' effort. I thought we really came here with a lot of purpose, played to win, made a lot of quality plays. And, I tip my hat to Kentucky. I know it was a big game, home game, coming off of a couple comeback wins. They have a good basketball team that I think is only going to get better, and we respect them a great deal. And they beat us tonight. It wasn't that they didn't get a real test from us. We came here with great purpose to try and win the game, and they beat us.
They beat us. No BS. Jimmy, I'm going to go one more. And this is important for all young people playing sports. This is important for all coaches. And I mean this. There are too many coaches that don't get this. Nobody's happy when you lose. Trust me, Sean Miller is a ferocious competitor. He was way too short to play major college basketball. Jimmy, I don't know if you've ever seen tape of him. He was way too short. He was a great shooter. He was a great passer. Struggled on defense, but did everything he could to play defense, and walked into the Big East. And when it comes to putting the ball where it's supposed to go, Jimmy, I'm telling you, he was as good as anybody in the Big East the second he stepped on the court, because that was his training. And so when you grow up with your dad being a coach and your dad being a legendary coach, winning and losing is a very fascinating thing. I wish more coaches, there's a time to be furious and okay, paint the walls after a loss. There is a time for that. Okay, sports is a little different. It's not war games. It's a little different. And there's a time to also have a perspective of a loss. And I'm serious. Any coaches out there, some of you are going to disagree, and I'm okay with that. This is, somebody might say this is a liberal thing. I'm not getting political. But I believe this wholeheartedly. Each loss has a different chapter of its own, has a time and place of its own. And I wish more coaches and players understood clip number 3.
You cannot allow the final score to break you. And if we're playing good basketball and doing a lot of good things in these 40 minutes, we have to learn, grow, build on it, carry some of those good things to the next game. And no doubt about it, I think, like being able to play better defense without fouling, I mean, it's worth 2, 4, 6 points every game for us. Because some of our fouls, the offense doesn't have an advantage, and we're just giving them points. So it's a big deal for us.
That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. And trust me, he's ticked. I think that's pretty cool. By the way, my heart, like everybody else, goes out to Cam Williams. I think he was one of the best defensive players on the team. Nobody is better than Marino. I think he's a kid that had already blossomed more than the scoreboard met the eye. Broken bone in your foot, it's a really bad thing. And he seems like a great kid. We had his dad on the air months ago. And feet are a funny thing. And so I wish him nothing but the best, nothing but the best. And, it's like when Lowe went down at Memorial Coliseum. And when he went down, I don't think that had anything to do with training. I know there's people questioning the training. I'm not saying not to coach the training. But, when people made the thing, well, Lowe fell, and then Butler had the problem last year. The way Lowe fell, I don't know how many people wouldn't have a shoulder problem. That was a horrible fall. It was a horrible fall. And with Butler, I mean, the kid's been in shape. Come on, this is not revisionist history. The kid's built like a brick, you know what, right? Stronger than an ox. I mean, I don't think that's training. I just don't. I could be wrong. Could easily be wrong, and I understand why some people are questioning it, and maybe they need to make a change. Maybe. I don't know that, but I do know from what I've observed, if you fell the way Lowe fell, you could mess your shoulder. Well, when I say you're not in shape. I'm not in shape. There's not a shot there. Not at all. Not at all. By the way, one of the things that Aberdeen has been saying is that Lowe is in his ear. Switching to Aberdeen, Lowe is in his ear, and he's helping him, and he appreciates it. I thought that was pretty good. And I've already said this, and I'm going to say it again. This is no disrespect to Lowe. I promise you. I hope the kid gets 100%. I hope he gets physically stronger, legs and getting that shoulder 100%. But Aberdeen is a better basketball player. He just is. And if you're saying, well, Cutler, you didn't really see him when he was healthy, it's okay. It's okay. He'd be better if he was healthy. And I wish when he comes back that he becomes still looking to score. Wouldn't want to take that away from him. Not at all. But he looks to score first. And there are too many times where he would put his head down and not look at opportunities in other places. And I don't like that. If you're Trae Young, I get it. He's not Trae Young. And if you're saying, why are you criticizing someone when guess what? He's out for the year. No, I'm not criticizing. He's probably a future coach. And he's got I think, tremendous future in basketball. Okay, I don't see him being an NBA player, but you know what? He could get much better. His size will go against him. He's quick, but he's not lightning quick. His shot isn't good enough to play in the NBA. Could he possibly play somewhere in the world for a long time and make a whole bunch of money? Absolutely. Absolutely. Willie, don't know yet. Don't know yet. I mean, I just don't know. But I want to tell you this. I'm not down on the kid at all. Not down. But when you shoot 20.8% from downtown and you are the point guard, that's not very good. And when you're a shoot first point guard and you're shooting 35.8%, that's just not good. Numbers are numbers. But does he have value? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think some of you will say Cutler's ripping him. I'm not. I'm being clinical. And it's pretty obvious, by the way. And so hopefully you take it the right way. If you don't, can't help it. Can't help it. Can't help it. Let me give a little kudos to Pope last night. So Noah's going to have to play. There's no question about it. And he was starting early on, which kind of surprised me. And so he really hasn't played. And put yourself in his shoes. You haven't played. You think he's nervous? Yeah. He picked up a couple fouls quickly. And I don't remember who it was. Was it Owe? Somebody put their arm around him, was walking him down the court, on the court. I thought that was lovely, by the way. Not good, but lovely. That really tells you a lot about people and leadership. I think it was Owe, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. Whoever it was, kudos to whatever. And Pope did something smart. And you could say, okay, there's not a lot of people he could have put in. Okay, that fine. Push that crap aside. He left him in. So that told me two things. He's saying, okay, kid, calm down. Kid, I believe in you. Kid, I need you. Calm down. And he didn't end up having the biggest play of the game because that's baloney, but he had a huge rebound in one of these shows last year that for a kid his size, he's got a nose for the ball and he will get a huge rebound. And I thought that was really cool. And he's going to have to play. And I'm okay with it. And I wonder, knowing he's going to play, will that amplify his ability to play? It might. It might. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Really looking forward to it. Now, you know Colin is going to say nice things about Trent or a teammate. That's just the way he is. This is clip number 3, Colin Chandler talking about Trent Noah.
I thought Trent played great. There was a few kind of annoying calls on him right when he got in, a ticky-tack boxing out foul and then an offensive foul. We're just like, I feel for him. Like, he sat the whole game until that point and come in and refs aren't doing him any favors. But then he came up with, arguably, that him and Mo had the biggest rebounds of the game that very easily could have went back to Texas. And so that's an unsung play, an unsung hero.
You know, when you play at Kentucky, everybody thinks it's rosy. Not everybody, but most people. When you're on the bench and you come to Kentucky and you obviously were a star where you came from, adjusting to not playing is very difficult. There are more guys through the years that have hit being depressed. There are more guys who thought about leaving and never did. There were more guys who were ready to pack and did not. Richie Palmer tells a story where he was, leaving, and Pitino said, if you leave, I'm quitting. Pitino was never going to quit, but that's neither here nor there. And they got Richie to come back. And Richie's not the only one. There's so many cases like that. It just doesn't hit air. It just does not. And so, I picked up on this in the 80s, early 80s when I got here. And I got to be honest, I didn't realize how strong it was till I got here to talking to some players. So I realized it was the 80s, but a lot of my sports knowledge goes back to when I was a child, and I did not figure this out when I was a child. Wish I said I did, but I did not. And I don't remember who the player was that I was talking to as a UK player. It was in the early 80s, 82, 83, 84, something like that. And I remember going back to the station and using the soundbite and going, wow, I had no idea. And so, Noah and Perry and Chandler were like three peas on a pod last year, as you remember. They would shoot together, they would hang out together, they commiserated together, they became great friends together. And what were they? They were freshmen who weren't playing. They were freshmen that were adjusting. And it was difficult, but their bond, I think, is forever. I really do. It's forever. Here's clip number 4. And Chandler talks about Noah and how tough he is and the attitude he brought every day, even though he was upset. Anybody says they're not upset when not playing, I just don't buy it. You can handle it well, you can accept it, but part of you is upset, and part of you is upset more than somebody else. It's just the way it is. Here's clip number 4.
It's hard to also read him because he seems normal, I mean, anybody who's when you're not playing, it's not an easy thing, right? But he's just kept his head up and continued to play well in practice. He's been great. Like if you kind of came and watched him at practice, you wouldn't know that he was frustrated. You wouldn't know what's been going on with him in his life. So he's ready. He's stayed ready for the moment, and now we are going to need him a lot.
I think it's a great comment. I want to see what Noah does. I'm excited to see what he does. Seriously. I'm also excited to see if Kentucky starts to make an adjustment, whether Hawthorne comes up and he ends up playing, or they go to the G League. And I'm not against the G League at all. Not against. But if you have somebody in-house who knows the plays and knows your teammates and stuff like that, you think it's close, it isn't close. It isn't close. And I really, the way the world is today, don't really care about taking the tag off Hawthorne because I don't think it hurts him because you can play next year anyway. So it's not a big deal. And I don't see him playing an extra year anyway. There was a football player, Jimmy, I can't remember. It was the last game of the season. And the kid, they took the tag off him to play for that one game. And Bill Curry got ripped to the point. It was unbelievable. And the kid turned out to be a pretty good football player. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the kid's name, but if he had another year, because back then you couldn't get another year. If he had another year, he might have been the guy, not even going to be a first-round draft choice, but he might have been a guy who would have been an undrafted free agent because he was so tough, might have had a shot. I'm not putting him in the NFL, might have had a shot to play in the league because he was that tough. Can't think of the kid's name. And I remember what Curry said. We went to the kid said he would do it. Well, you got to protect the kid. That crap drives me nuts. How many kids grow up and say, I'm going to do what the coach says? Not as much as now as before, but that crap drives me nuts. And Kentucky didn't win that game anyway. It's not the point. And you're trying to win, and I get that. But, I mean, I wasn't the only one that ripped Curry for that. I thought it was disgusting. You're the adult. You're supposed to do the right thing. I know you're trying to win, but you're supposed to do the right thing. It was wrong. It was wrong. It was wrong. And I'll tell you what's right. Quantrell Subaru. From the depths of Monmouth Cave to the rugged cliffs of Red River Gorge to muddy boots and long days in Daniel Boone National Forest and every back road that gets you there. Your adventures are built for Subaru with legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive, proven safety, and the durability Quantrell Subaru is known for. You can push farther, you can stay longer, and explore without hesitation. Right now, get 0% APR financing on the new 2025 Subaru Outback models through February 2nd. Built for Kentucky. Ready for anywhere. Quantrell Subaru. Visit QuantrellSubaru.com. See dealer for details. Don't forget about their Cadillacs. We had one. So smooth. What a drive. What a car to take on the road. And we now have the VC60, the Volvo, the hybrid. Best car we've ever had. We love it. And look, this is not starting when I started the show. This goes back over a dozen years that we've been dealing with Quantrell because we like them and we trust this, and they'll make a deal for you, and they have your back. I haven't said that before. They have your back. They really do. What more do you want from a car dealership? Quantrell, check them out. Travis Ford coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for the Quantrell Auto Group, a people organization who have Cadillacs, Volvos, Subarus. Experience the all-electric and plug-in hybrid power vehicles. We have the VC60, the Volvo. We love it. Best car we've ever had. Dedicated customer service. Helped us big time with financing. A wonderful dealership, the Quantrell Auto Group. They've been terrific for us for well over a decade. I trust the Quantrell Auto Group.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
Kappa what?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday king-size candy bars. Buy one, get one for $1.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refill.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
I think we're really just playing connected. We're really focusing on the defensive end, trying to get some stops so we could get out in transition. And I feel like when we do get out in transition, it kind of sets us up for our offense, even in the half court. Like, we just know what we could get to. And like I said, just the intensity on defense has really been good for us.
Welcome back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. And now, traveling in the state of Kentucky, one of the great point guards and great dudes ever to wear Kentucky across his chest. You know, I've always said, I'm going to tick off Travis starting on. He's going to hang up on me. I always thought that Ralph Beard was the greatest point guard in UK history because he's the only player in Kentucky history, and maybe the only player ever, I'm going to have to look it up, was a 3-time first-team All-American. Now, Travis made All-American, all of this, all that, all SEC, all academics, whatever. So I always put you as 1A, which to me is a hell of a... Seriously, 1A. But I've always put... I can't believe I'm telling it to your face, but Trav, you know me, so you can't throw a pie at me. If I'm across from you, go, give me a limber egg pie. I'm going to hit Cutler right in the face. I've always put you as 1A. Am I wrong? Do you hate me?
Oh, I think you're being awfully nice and awfully way overly generous. Okay. I'm with you that Ralph Beard is Ralph is obviously was just an elite, great player. But you got guys like Kyle Macy, who was my all-time favorite. You've got John Wall. You've got a player that's over at the Oklahoma City Thunder that's not too bad either. There's some great point guards that have come through Kentucky for sure, and I appreciate you even just throwing my name in there. But I'm probably down that list somewhere.
Well, okay, I didn't get to finish, but one thing I need to know: if you think I'm being too nice to you, I have to stop. This has to stop. I didn't explain.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay, here's my 1A though. You're not the only one in 1A. Okay, so have the other guys you were saying also in 1A. I swear to you, I promise you. In other words, I'm putting Beard at the top, like it's a Mount Rushmore point guards at Kentucky with me.
Right.
And the guy in the middle, with all due respect, is Ralph Beard. Now, I don't know if you're on the right side or left side, but equal in a step below, and I should have explained this properly, and I'm really sorry for being nice to you, Travis. I'll try not to do it again. I've got
I need it. Somebody's got to be. So.
But are you okay being the 1A with that elite group?
Oh, I'll take it. That's for sure. Because I just like I said, I look at all the great players that have played at Kentucky, and my favorites, like you said, are Ralph Beard. I've always been a major. I've watched film on Ralph Beard. I've obviously got to meet him. I got to meet several times, and but Cal Macy was my favorite growing up, who's obviously an All-American, and I can go down. There's so many great players.
Do you know, or did I ever tell you the story? What was in Ralph Beard's house, in his kitchen?
No. Haven't heard this one.
I don't know if he allowed somebody else, so I can't say that because I don't know. But the first TV camera he allowed in his house was me and mine. And he allowed me, and I did a stupid thing. I should have called the TV station and said, I'm not coming back to do the story at 6 o'clock. He brought me to the basement, and he was a pat rack, and he saved all the things from the scandal. And he said, do whatever you want, just put them. And he went upstairs, and it was unbelievable. You know, he always said he took the money, but didn't throw the games, because his line was, he didn't just tell me this, he told everybody. I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, and he gave the money to his mother, and it ruined his life. You know, he came here to play football.
Right.
And he separated, separated both shoulders on the first play as a fullback in his first practice, and went to basketball. Anyway, making a long story too much longer. In his kitchen, he had a separate plastic table where he had his 1948 gold medal on the wall, and he and his wife had coffee every single day. And when he told me that, and I'm in the house, Travis, I got to chill. Yeah. That medal, first of all, I'd never seen a 1948 medal one, but to put it in your house so you see it every day after everything you went through was beautiful. Sorry for the long story, but the point is, you're 1A with Macy Wall.
Well, I would love to. You still have that story? I'd love to see that story sometime. I haven't seen it. It sounds extremely interesting.
I'm pretty sure I do, and I will find it. And if
I would love it. Yeah.
You will have it within 48 hours if I have it. I promise you.
That'd be great.
You know what? I didn't save very many things, and it was always the next day and that kind of stuff. But doing that story with Ralph meant a lot to me, and we became pretty darn good friends. And he trusted me. So he was a lovely man who did something really stupid, okay? But I understood who did it, and his penalty for that was egregious. They didn't play pickup basketball at UK.
No, I didn't know that. Did not know that.
The judge said, if I ever see you or find out that you play pickup basketball at UK, you're going to jail.
Wow.
That's how bad the whole thing. And anyway, I'm sorry for getting on the tangent, but you of all people would have the Olympic gold medal on the wall, and he and his wife had coffee. He said every single day we had coffee to start the day there. It's beautiful.
That is so interesting.
Okay, so to last night, I'm glad they won last night for a couple of reasons. One, I'm glad they won, but two, it seems like every time you come on, it's after a loss, so you're not the jinx.
Exactly. This feels a lot better. That's for sure.
I'm going to give Pope a lot of credit, and I'm doing it in a backwards kind of way, which is typical me. When Kentucky played St. John's was one team, and my dear friend, you know him, Dick Hoops Weiss, we both thought that there was no way that St. John's would be really good in the Big East because they don't have shooters. Their defense wasn't as good as the Patino. It just didn't mesh together. Well, they're 7-1 in the Big East. And I watched the Seton Hall game. I always watch their highlights when they're on TV, but I watched the game. And I can't believe how they've changed. They are tough. They're together. They hustle. They're not going to national championship. They're really good, but they've changed so much. Fast forward to Pope. I'm giving Pope a ton of credit. I mean, this thing was like a kid trying to climb a rope, and you're holding onto the rope, and your hands are burning, and you're slipping and slipping and slipping. And this basketball team has changed. I credit the players, I credit Pope, I credit his staff, and I think we're seeing the change right in front of our very own eyes. And last thing, and then I'm going to shut up. They figured out last night that a basketball game is 40 minutes, not 20 minutes. That's the next piece.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, and I was going to start with what you just said. I don't think Mark Pope and his staff are getting enough credit for coaching through all the adversity, the noise a little bit, but adversity. They haven't lost a game since Jalen Lowe and Quaintance have both kind of been ruled out again. They haven't lost a game, and they figured out how to win some games. That's part of the process of figuring it out. And I've said this all along. We've talked a lot, Alan, and I've said this a month ago. Sometimes it just takes, especially a team that's fairly new roster. You don't know when exactly they're going to click and when they're going to figure out what it takes for this particular team to win. What does that look like? I think you're starting to see it. You're starting to see Owe look like a SEC Player of the Year candidate. You're seeing Aberdeen, where he can flourish in this system. You're seeing Colin Chandler. They're all playing to their strengths, and they're using, and Owe said it in your clip, they're using defense. And I've said this all year long. Their defense can really carry them if their offense will complement their defense. That means don't take a lot of bad shots. And if there was 60 possessions last night, say on offense, I bet 55 of them were positive. Doesn't mean they scored, but they were positive possessions that allowed their defense to really help them win the game. And I just don't think Mark Pope and his staff are getting enough credit for really coaching through all the adversity through injuries and all the stuff. And they're sitting here, 3 games, won 3 games, and I expect them to win on Saturday.
It's interesting. And I'm not being negative to the players or Pope. I promise you. You know me better than that anyway. I don't think, I guess they were anti-Pope, because I'm saying this first because I don't, how people read into things. I don't know if they were totally bought in, partly because these guys weren't sure what their role was. And I think Pope wasn't sure what their role was. And lots of coaches have this problem. I saw a soundbite last week of Sean Miller, who was talking about how he was still figuring out his team. Sean Miller's a hell of a coach. Okay. He was still figuring out his team.
Yep.
Okay. And so when Cal used to say, I haven't figured my team out yet, initially he took some crap. Initially I gave him some crap. And then I said I was wrong, because even though your kids, they grow, they change, they develop, and they show different things. I was wrong. And so in my old age, I learned some things too. And so, because people say Pope's a young coach, he's not a young coach. He's been coaching a long time. He's figured out the team with plus and minuses, and I applaud him. And I think the players have really bought in, because you can be the smartest coach in the world, but if your players don't listen to you, you're worthless. And I think the kids have brought in, and I think they're basically right now, it looks like they might be really all together.
Well, I would agree. And I think, in the era that we are in college athletics, and I'm talking about the portal, this is going to happen. Some years you look at last year's team, and we've talked about it, you look at last year's team that figured it out and they gelled very, very quickly. That's not going to happen every year, especially when probably 80 to 85% of your roster, is a new roster. Sometimes it's going to happen early. Sometimes it's going to happen later. You just never, ever know when a particular team is going to figure out what that team needs to be successful. And, I think knowing that Jalen Lowe, we all would love Jalen Lowe to be playing, but to know that, all right, he's not coming back. So there's some definitive there that, all right, these guys got to step up. This is where we're at. Sometimes that can be a positive where you can just move forward from that standpoint. I think that's probably mentally played a role. But I think this team is starting to figure out what they need to do as this 2025-26 team, what this team needs to do to be successful. And it just might take a little bit longer. That's going to happen in the in the era of this portal where every year is going to be a different looking roster. You just never know when they're going to figure it out.
I was just talking to Jimmy because I've said this so many times on the air. I don't know a human being who uses their big mouth for a living who talks about free throws as much as I do. And Jimmy will test. I just, and again, the example I use is Nazi. God bless Nazi. I love Nazi. He was 0 for 6 against Arizona. And if he hits 2, they win the game in regulations. I'm not complaining about Nazi. I'm just not. But it's an example, and it's free throws. And Kentucky lost some games this year when they're shooting like 63, 65, 66%. It sucks. If you don't show over 75%, I think you're not good. This is me. You can disagree. It's all whatever. But the CCCCCCC was there last night. The confidence of these kids, they hit 30 or 35. And if they shoot 60-something%, they lose last night. And that they hit their free throw. First of all, they had a lot of free throws. And Sean Miller, by the way, didn't blame the refs. He said it was our fault, which I love, by the way. He said we fouled too much. That's all on us. It's not the refs. But the point is, they hit free throws last night. And to me, come on, could you right now, if there's nobody standing around, make 90% right now?
Oh, yeah, I better be able to. As long as I don't have to move, I can still make a shot. But you're exactly right. You look at a guy like Malachi Moreno, who, early in the year, everybody was complaining about his free throws. Now you look at him, you're shocked if he misses. He's became but he's worked at it. He's really, really worked hard, spent extra time working on his free throws, and you look at Diabate made his free throws last night. You expect Aberdeen, Owe, and all those guys, but no question, especially when you shoot as many as they shot last night, it can definitely, determine whether you win or lose.
85.7%. They shoot 65%, they lose. The streak is over. It's with all the good things they did. And the other thing, Texas was number 1 in the country with most free throws percentage-wise per attempt from the field. And they held them down to 20. They made 18. They made 90%, which is kind of crazy. But free throws, really, I'm not surprised you could make 90 as long as nobody's standing in your face. I like that, Travis.
Yeah, as long as you don't make me move.
You know who's Odie Smith? I know you know Adrian Smith. Years ago, before a live shot, and he would show respect. He would come to games. He was a banker, as you know, and would usually wear a very nice suit and tie, as he would tell me he's usually coming from the bank. And he went on the court before the game, in between my live shots, when it's kind of like nobody there, takes his shoes off. And he's just shooting. He made, 15, 20 in a row. And I said, Odie, you still got it. He said, what you said? He said, Cutler? He said, 15 feet, nobody around me. He said, I shoot all the time. He said, I don't miss. He said, I make 9 or 10, keep on shooting. So you guys are a great shooter. You don't lose it, do you?
Well, it's like riding a bike, I guess. But I'm about the same way. From 15 feet on in, I'm money. Don't get me too far out. Elbow's got a little bit of issues, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
Hey, look, if the only issue you have from playing ball all those years is your elbow, you're a lucky man.
Yeah, well, that's not. Yeah, I got 6 knee surgeries and a hip replacement, so I've had my share.
I knew you had a knee surgery. I didn't know you had 6 and a hip replacement.
Yeah, I've had a few.
Oh my gosh! Good thing you didn't sacrifice your body for the game. Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
help me with this, would you please? It's one of the biggest issues. The hypocrisy in basketball is just stupid. If this were today and Enes Kanter coming into Kentucky, he'd play, and Kentucky probably would have won another national championship. Oh, he's a professional in Europe. Well, these guys, Yelovich was making money last year. Everybody knows that. It's just the way it is. Why is there all this crap about the G League stuff? It doesn't bother me because let's not be hypocritical. And the NCAA, to me, I guess to me, they've always been clueless. I don't understand them. I just don't. What do you think about this whole thing about the kid who's going to play for Alabama? And he had signed 3 NBA contracts, never played in the NBA. Kentucky's looking at a G League guy. You know, the first guy to get a G League guy was my friend Herb Sendick, who graduated Carnegie Mellon, is one of the smartest coaches, as you know, around. And Herbie and I have been dear friends forever. He saw the rule and took advantage of it right away. But the point is this: what do you think of this whole mess? The G League, they sign the contract, you don't. You come from Europe, you're a professional. What do you think of this mess? And how do you fix it, Travis?
Yeah, I think there's different levels to it. I think, first of all, you look at the young man at Alabama. Let's just use it. I don't blame Alabama for playing him. I don't blame Alabama for signing him if it's within the rules. Now, is it a good rule that they're allowed to do that? I don't think so. Now, I think once you play professionally and receive money professionally, I think, I'm not so sure you should be able to come back to college. Now, if you have signed a contract and you haven't played, or I always thought if a kid puts his name in the draft, they've always had these dates that you've got to pull your name out of the draft. I think they should have been able to go just all the way through it. And if you don't get drafted where you want, as long as you haven't played professionally, you should be able to come back to college. So there's a lot of levels. As long as it's within the rules, with what Baylor has done, with what Alabama is doing, I don't blame them for using the rules to better their team. Now, it's up to the NCAA to do a better job, I believe, a better job of defining the rules, make a better rule of exactly, what does it mean to be a professional and what does it mean not to be a professional? And with the NIL and everything in college athletics, that could be a fine line nowadays. So I think there's a lot of levels to it, but as long as it's within the rules, I don't blame Alabama for doing it.
Oh, I don't blame Alabama either. So explain this to me, because I can't figure this out. You got a kid like Yelovich, who, by the way, in my monologue, I talked about he might have had the biggest bucket of the game. That banking shot that he made was a very tough shot. And
huge. He backed the guy down and used his size. I thought it was a big shot. Yes, I agree.
Kentucky, as a coach, I'm going to go on a sidebar before I get to my main point is, as a coach, when you see a guy, as you've coached a gazillion kids, who you don't expect to take the great shot, the big shot, and he makes a very tough shot, and you're getting help from somewhere you didn't anticipate. Plus, he had 7 rebounds, which is terrific too. But and he had 2 steals. But the point is, when he took that shot and made it, I think there's a relief, partly because you take the lead again, and partly so, hey, we're getting help. It doesn't have to be Olway. It doesn't have to be Aberdeen. Look who we got help from. I think that really uplifts the team even more. Is that nuts?
Oh, I think it's 100%. That's what it takes to be successful. That's what winning is all about. Is it's not on just one or two people's shoulders. In order to be successful, especially a team like Kentucky right now, you're going to need help from all areas. I think the whole team, you look at the whole team and you start, and there's a section of the box score, the paper box score that the stats, that has a plus-minus system. And I think everybody that's getting in the game, the majority of the players are having more positive plays than negative plays. Could we have said that maybe a month ago? I don't know. But guys are getting in and contributing in the way that they can, whether it be a Yelovich making a big shot, whether it's Chandler, getting out on a fast break or making a 3, whether it's Olway leading the team, Aberdeen doing his job, Marino, Garrison, everybody's having positive plays, positive minutes, more positive plays, more positive minutes, I think, than they were maybe a month ago. And that's part of growth, that's part of process, and that's what it takes to win.
Interesting you say that. I agree with that. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I look at the box scores. I study them like crazy, but I think you're absolutely right. By the way, Yelovich had the second best plus-minus in 17 minutes and 46 seconds. Yep. He was at 18. Marino was at 19. Nobody else was at 10. Help me with this. Here's the part that's driving me nuts. Yelovich made money last year. God bless, more power to him. You know me better than that. So is it okay for him, since he played professional for years, for him to come and a guy from the G League not? I'm confused, and I don't understand how this wasn't fixed.
It is. It's different, and I would say it because I've recruited and I've coached international players. And how it's different is international players, it's different internationally. They don't have high schools. They all have club teams, and they grow up in club teams. And it's different environment than in a high school environment. And so I've always looked at it as two different things. And yes, whether they got paid or not, some of them get just living expenses and things like that, and they don't sign a professional, in quotes, professional contract. And that's how they've been able in the past to come over and play college athletics. But it's such a different environment internationally because there is no high school. These kids at a very young age join a club and that club is is ran, professionally in a manner, but there is just no high school in international where we have high school over here.
You have a solution? Do we make you Travis Ford, commissioner of basketball? Guess what? I can't figure it out. So, and you're smarter than me. So help me out. Seriously, what would you do? What is fair? I got no clue.
I think it takes somebody a lot smarter than me and probably you to figure all this out. But I think you need to get in a room and brainstorm and how do you make it better. And I think you start one way, and it's not even what we're talking about. I think you start talking about the portal first, where you can't transfer every single year. I think you start with that. Figure that portal out first. All right, and then you can start dealing with this amateurism. Who can come and play college athletics after they supposedly have been a professional? Again, I think if you've played a professional and you've received a professional contract and you have played minutes and you have played in a game, then I think it makes it very difficult to come back. That's not the rule, but I kind of think that probably should be the rule. Once you've played in a professional game in a professional league, not even though some people may argue college is professional now, you can almost argue that at this point with NIL. But once you've gone to a professional league and you've played minutes, then I think it should be tough to come back to play college.
Yeah, I think that too, except the reason why I don't say that, because that means Jelovich can't play for Kentucky. And that's where I'm very conflicted. So I'm not smart enough for the answer.
Yeah, and I don't know, again, I don't know his whole situation. Was he a professional? And Alan, you got to understand, European contracts, international contracts are a lot different than an NBA and G League contract. And I've dealt with it a lot. A lot of kids they may be playing for a professional team in whatever country they're from, but they don't sign a professional contract. They're not under what maybe 5 or 6, 7 other guys who are maybe 30 years old on their team. They have a different contract than maybe what Jelovich did. That still made him an amateurism. I don't know the answer to that, but I've seen that a lot where kids are playing on a professional team, but they weren't on a professional contract. Sounds confusing, but no, I've seen it.
Actually, I understand it. Last one on that, then I got one more to throw at you just to make you smile. Decades and decades ago, there were Olympians across the world, supposed to be amateurs who were making a ton of money. And I never thought that was fair. And then in just before the Dream Team, when we were supposedly just having our amateurs and we couldn't win, America said, screw that. We're going to put a Dream Team together, and it kicked everybody's butt, one of the greatest all time. So the system has never been right, and I can't figure it out. But I know across the world, there was, I don't know, but cheating, whatever. But some of these Olympians were making a fortune. So I don't know. I want to end up. Go ahead. You go make a comment, please. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I whether it's, I don't know if it's rather right or wrong. It's just different how, most countries do it. Again, in the United States, kids are brought up through elementary teams, junior high teams, high school teams, college teams. That's just not the way it's done internationally. You can argue whether it's right or wrong. It's just different. They don't have high school teams. I don't care what sport it is, but they're all part of club teams from a very early age, and it's just looked upon differently than how we play our high school. So I just think it's different. I don't know what's right or wrong, but it's just different.
God bless the person who figures it out. I know I can't. I'm going to end with a smile, Travis. Yeah. SGA
absolutely
is the third player to ever, did you see this stat? To get 40 points, 10 plus assists on 80% field goals. And I saw he was one of 3. I guessed one of them right away. The other one, if you said you don't eat a meal until you get them, I would have died of starvation. You know who the 2 are? You ready for that?
No idea.
Will Chamberlain, I got right away because I used to watch him as a kid, and he was really big in assists. The other one, again, in a million years, I wouldn't have guessed it. Emmanuel Quickly is the other one to do it.
Wow.
There's been only 3 in the history of the NBA. How could I guess? How could you guess quickly?
No, I don't think anybody would have guessed that one. That caught me by surprise.
Yeah,
for sure.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. I mean,
very impressive. Very impressive.
If
SGA just continues to impress. If you watch him, he's just so fun to watch play. You know, he just defies it every time. You just think, how did he do that? And he does it night in and night out, and his team is winning. And he may go out and get 45, but he looks like he's doing it very unselfishly. It doesn't even look like he's putting forth effort in order. He's such an amazing player and so fun to watch.
Got the best pace of a basketball player I've seen in a long time. You know what he reminds me of? A guy who was a great player. And he goes down to the YMCA and he loves to play. And he's playing when he's 60, you know, and still, you know, because you can shoot. He's still playing and stuff like that. And he goes at a slow pace. He looks like he's going at a very slow pace, but he's in total control. And you would think somebody would be able to stop him. And you can't. You can't. He's going at a slower pace, and these guys are getting in his face, and they can't block a shot, and they can't stop him, and they can't disturb him. It's like he's almost oblivious to the defensive player all the time.
Yeah, his pace is ridiculous, and it's that's hard. Not many players can do that at that pace and score and play at such a high level, not only individually but helping your team win. And that's why they're, world champs, why they won it all last year. But, yeah, ridiculous pace, incredible.
Bless you, Trav. I'm glad they won last night. And had they lost by 20 last night, it'd probably been your last time coming on the show because I was going to blame you.
You know better than that.
I know. But that doesn't mean I can't. Like, you wouldn't have fun at my expense, right?
That's right. That's right.
Bless you, dude. Appreciate you tremendously. Think the world of you. And remember, 1A on the mountaintop.
I'll take it.
Have a great day. Appreciate you.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah. Travis is great. This is just how we'd be talking if, we before a game or something like that. That's what these conversations are. Kind of glad I didn't get to explain the 1A part.
He kind of gave you an out on that.
Oh, I was going to take it either way.
Yeah.
I was going to take it. And by the way, I'm serious as a heart attack. The only thing that team didn't do was win a national championship. Only Kentucky player to be 2-time MVP of the SEC tournament. Academic All-American, SEC All-American, academically, all SEC as a player multiple times as well. I'm serious as a heart attack. Had they won the national championship, I think other people would agree. Seriously, but when you don't win the national championship, they played a great team. I mean, come on, great team. And he was a great player on a great team. One of the greatest Kentucky players, I think, of all time. He gets a little overlooked because, he's not 6'2". Anyway, coming up next, Deuce Williams. And do I have a surprise for him? Jimmy, I'm going to rattle his cage in something I'm sincere about. And I think the only reason I'm going to do it because I think Deuce can handle it. I don't pin guests to the wall, right?
Yeah.
But I don't shy away. And there's a lot of guests I could do this to, but I'm going to do it to him. I'm going to do it to him. And I'm going to be very curious to see your facial reaction, Jimmy. Very curious. And very curious if you say, I want better health, and I'm going to try acupuncture, even though I don't know anything about it. I didn't 10 years ago. Unless I hear Cutler talking about it, and I get that, it's unbelievable. It's different. It's unbelievable. 859-533-0914. 859-533-0914. By the way, with my blood pressure problem, because I had to go to the hospital, which had nothing to do with my blood pressure, which I still have a problem. One of the things he did, he stuck needles, Jimmy, in the top of my ears. Can you imagine that?
No.
Because that's 2 points of your body that affect blood pressure. He put him many other places, but that's a spot with blood pressure. And I did some research, and I knew he was right, but I did some research. It's absolutely right. He understands things about the body that I'm guessing you don't understand, because I know I didn't understand. Seriously. And I'm not talking down. I'm talking about from an education. He is that unique. He's that special. I trust Ramon Carriega. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist. 859-533-0914. Please use my name. Blue Lotus Health. Swims. Coming up next, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Hey, I'm Dale Wise. I've just recently retired. I know that the electronics, if you don't keep up with it, it can get away from you and get real confusing. Republic Bank's app, I use their app, and it is so easy to use. I log in with my fingerprint, so it's super easy. I don't have to remember 50 million different passwords and all that stuff. And it lays it out just real nice.
That's Dale's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC. Data rates may apply.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler for my friends at Quantrell Cadillac. There's something unmistakable the moment you step into a Cadillac. The soft glow of the dashboard, the quiet power waiting beneath your foot. Every detail is designed to move you before you ever move. On the road, it's smooth, responsive, effortless. Advanced technology surrounds you. Performance responds instantly, and the world outside fades away. This isn't just driving, it's arrival. At Quantrell Cadillac, that experience is closer than you think, with exceptional offers including 2.9 APR for 60 months on select models. Luxury has never felt more attainable. Visit QuantrellCadillac.com. See dealer for complete terms.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
Kappa what?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday king-size candy bars. Buy one, get one for $1.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refill.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington. And LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Lots of fun with Travis Ford. Coming up at 1:30. Dear old friend, former UK assistant Doug Barnes, an assistant under Eddie Sutton, and now former Studley linebacker, and I defend him because when he played for UK, there were face masks. Deuce Williams. Deuce, how are you, pal?
Man, I'm doing great. Happy New Year and all that kind of good stuff. It's good to see your face.
Back at you. So even though you're a football guy, I'm assuming outside your hunting and everything else you watch the game last night, your thought process on the change, because you were not a college basketball player, but you know sports and you know teams and you know metamorphosis and you know not just the changes but guys playing together. I give Pope credit, I give the kids on the team credit, because they've changed. I do think they had problems internally. I do think there were problems with roles. I do think things have been ironed out. I give Pope a ton of credit. This has changed. These kids believe. These kids are tough. It's just different. It's just totally different, and I applaud them. I'm not saying they win a national championship. I am saying I ain't worried about them making the NCAA tournament, and I think they'll be above 500 at the end of the SEC conference season, which is a change of what I thought was possible a couple weeks ago. And, you move and change. I'm not jumping on and off a bandwagon. Either you're good or you're bad. And that's just all it is. You see the change as well, but what do you see as a football player, but as a guy who knows sports?
Yeah, I found it to be very interesting. I look back at the beginning of the year, and if I'm just going to call it as we do on here, no filter, I mean, we were awful. No continuity at all. You could tell that there was distractions. You know that there was things internally that weren't right. And they're just bad. But it's interesting. I've watched this transition over the last couple of games, and I heard Coach Pope talk about it on one of his news conferences, and he said, "I hope Big Blue Nation is watching because you're starting to see something special unfold." And I believe that. I see that in the last couple of games, the buy-in, right? And I think the buy-in to themselves, as a team, and also to Coach Pope. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, I don't know if every bought into his system and believed in it. But when you start to win and see a change, that's when things start to come together. And I'm happy for Coach Pope, and I'm happy for these kids. And I think us as Big Blue Nation fans, we should be happy as well. And again, like I'm with you. I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship, but to see change happens is pretty special.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know what the hell their ceiling is. All I know is this: I can't guarantee it's going to get much better, but I think it can get much better. I really do, by the way, because Aberdeen, and I'm sorry for Lowe, Aberdeen is not only a better player, and as I said, I hope Lowe comes back next year and he's stronger, not just in his shoulders, but in his legs. I hope he learns to pass a little more first instead of looking for his shot first, because the shot is terrible. And I know part of it is because of his shoulder, but shot wasn't any good last year. I think he needs to grow and change as a player, but I think he can. But when I see him put his head down late in the game and there's somebody in the corner, he's not even looking to pass because he's playing a hero ball, which he does. He's got to grow and improve. And I think he can. I really think he can. But he's going to have to change. Aberdeen's a better basketball player. And Aberdeen became a better basketball player the second he knew he was the guy. That's not a damn negative word towards Lowe. He's just a better basketball player. And I think that's going to help Kentucky.
There's no question about it. And also, we can't forget about Double Zero, right? Double Zero has stepped up his game in the last several appearances. He's doing what he did last year, and he's becoming a difference maker for us. So yeah, there's no question in that. The thing that we've got to be concerned about is this depth at this point and trying to keep people healthy. Williams goes out last night. We got Lowe that was out. I heard a little bit of the show earlier. Trent Noah's got to step up, right? It's just time for, if you're going to continue to gel as a team, people have got to rise to the occasion. So we need that for sure.
One of the things that I really liked about Pope, and I'm not sure he had much of an option. You always have an option. Kid hasn't played in forever. And there was a really good soundbite that I played from Colin Chandler, because he and Perry and Noah were like the three musketeers, three freshmen, different worlds if you think about it, but they banned. You had two Kentucky boys and a guy did a Mormon mission. It's two totally different worlds, but it doesn't matter. People are people, and they bonded together. And when you don't play, this much better than the average person does in the public. I only know it because I've talked to people like you, and I'm not talking down to the public. I'm not. When you're used to playing all the time and all of a sudden you're not playing, it hurts. You can get depressed. You want to go home. You question if you're good enough. I don't care if you're playing for Kentucky. It's happened to a lot of Kentucky players in football, basketball, all schools all across the country. So they could commiserate among themselves. And Chandler had a bite that he understood what Noah has gone through by not playing. And he said every day, it doesn't matter. He still came to practice with a great attitude. And I love it. And that makes me root for this kid Noah like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's that big word that we hear a lot in sports called adversity. And you know this better than anybody else, but it's not just something that you have to fight through when you're playing athletics. You have to fight through adversity in life. There's things that are going to come up in your life. And Trent Noah, regardless of what he does from a basketball player, he's going to learn a life lesson for adversity, not quitting, fighting through tough times. And I think the kid will play more and be a contributor throughout the rest of the year. And I look forward to see what he does. Just as a person in life. But he has definitely fought through adversity. I think his teammates are bought into him, and you got to give it to anybody that's going to roll up their sleeves when things are tough and kind of fight through it. So good for him.
As I mentioned earlier in the show, he gets 2 quick fouls. Not the best of luck. Not blaming the refs. Neither here nor there. Pope could have sat his fanny down. Kid hasn't played in a long time. He can't be comfortable getting on the court. I know you can say you're supposed to be comfortable all the time, but that's BS. Instead of yanking him, Pope basically gave him confidence. Yeah, you're staying. Just stay. And I think it was Owe, and I don't remember. But I thought it was Owe, whoever it is, somebody put their arm around him on the court and was walking down the court talking to him. To me, that was to me, no kidding. That's one of the beautiful moments of the season when you have a teammate helping another teammate like that. It's probably better than a coach doing, or just as good. And it was a beautiful thing. And then Noah, who last year showed that he had a nose for the ball, he got one of the two biggest rebounds, probably the number two biggest rebounds of the game by getting it. And so he had value. You don't have to score 12 points to have value. He had value. And so I thought that'll be a shot of confidence. And plus now he knows the next game he's going to play.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no question. And you're right, Alan. You know, when your teammates are pulling for each other instead of being fragmented like they were early in the year, not good things are bound to happen. And so you're right. I was glad to see that as well.
Okay, I'm going to do something now, and I'm going to tell the world right now, I don't give a crap about this. I part of it I think is funny. Part of it is culture. And I know I can throw anything at you. You know how I am. I don't have a guest. I don't have guests on to grill them. But
That's
I also, the people that have been regulars with me, one, I appreciate you and everybody who's a regular. Appreciate you all tremendously. But I also know I can throw anything at you. And I also know how smart, when I say I'm putting you in a group, how you all are in handling sports in life. It's a big setup, but I'm telling you, this doesn't bother me. It's culture. Okay. Jenna Lifson got the comment. I didn't see it anywhere else, so give her credit. She's the assistant sports editor of the Colonel. And Mo Diabate said, and I can see him saying, he's a New York boy. He's from the city, playing ball in the city. This is something that it's so easy for me to feel that he's saying. Colin is tough. We got a tough white boy on our team. He is a dog. Doesn't bother me at all. But hang on. So if Chandler said, Colin is tough, not talking about himself. We got a tough white boy on a team. Excuse me. If Colin said, Mo is tough, we have a tough black boy on our team, he is a dog. Now, he wouldn't say it, but if he said that, how crazy would it be, not just here, but in a lot of different places? Yet it's okay for Mo to say it. I don't care because I understand it's culture. It's culture. I kind of chuckle when Mo say it because you know this really well. Guys behind the scenes in locker rooms say all kinds of things. There's a certain word that starts with a certain letter by M that I won't use, also can't use, okay? But that's used in the locker room very often by African Americans. And it's not a racial thing. It's just how it's a cultural thing that talking goes on. And some people don't understand it. Could you see if Chandler said the same thing, reverse of Mo, that would cause a problem, yet me? Doesn't bother me at all because how you say it and what you mean and your tone of voice to me is more important than the words. But I think I'm in the minority.
Yeah, you know, if you flip it around, Alan, you're going to get it's not going to be taken very well. And honestly, I'll tell you, I agree with it, and just because of culture and teammates, I don't think there should be. And this is just the way I see life in general. But I'm 55 years old, and this is the way I was raised and seen. I don't see color, and I don't speak to color that way at all. I just don't. That's just me. I just don't think it's important because I think we're all equals. And I know that Mo did not mean anything by what he said, right? And you're right. It's probably was part of his culture, maybe the way he was raised. I don't want to speak to how he was raised, but I think that it's unfortunate that that race plays into it, black or white or whatever nationality and culture that you are, that it comes into sports. And I just don't think it should be brought up. I mean, if I'm calling it no filter the way it is, I wasn't very happy with Double O at Tennessee, right? There was some there was a derogatory word that he used that you mentioned earlier without going into detail. I don't think there's any place for that. I don't. I mean, and again, we've got to, as a society, we've got to get past that and be able, from a culture standpoint, eliminate color and just see everybody the way they are. I will tell you, Bill Curry, one of the best. If you go back and listen to him about culture and talking about um, um, ethnicity and sports, he is one that will be very clear about removing any kind of color barriers. And you can go back and listen to clip by clip of Bill Curry, and I guarantee it comes up. That was one of his strong suits and things that I did take away from Coach Curry as far as culture is concerned, for sure.
Never in my life had I heard a coach talk like Bill Curry. Never.
Yeah.
And he admitted as a young man, he didn't know black people. But
Yeah.
when he Green Bay Packers and the guy next to him is black and they're both bleeding, his line that I'm sure you've heard this is, guess what? He said, we have the same color blood.
That's right.
He was way ahead of his time talking about race. I'm going to go one step further. I've held the caveat to the end. I'm glad Mo Diabate said it. You want to know why?
Yeah.
This is a culture thing. And if anybody, I don't know anybody else is talking about it, but you know me, I'm going to talk about what the hell I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm glad he said it because he said it as a compliment. Okay. And I'll go one step further. I love Dave Chappelle. I don't know if you listen.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah.
I'm going to no filter myself. Okay. You're going to laugh at me, but you know me, Deuce. It's the truth.
Yep.
The first time I heard Dave Chappelle, I was uncomfortable with him. How he uses that word that's close to.
Yep.
And I kind of struggled through the first tape I watched. By the end of the tape, it took me a little longer than it should have. I was not only comfortable, but I understood what he was doing, but he used it so much early on. I'm going, can't you be funny without it? And then I said to myself, boy, I'm being an old fogey by saying that and thinking that and that kind of stuff. And it fits for him. And I get it. And I understand it. And he uses that word that's close to M on white people and black people. It's just a term for him. And he's funny. He's also really smart. The stuff he does is not only out there, but you have to be really smart to write the things that he writes. You just have to be. So not only am I comfortable, Richard Pryor used it. I know Chris Rock used it, but nobody uses the way Dave Chappelle does. But I'm very comfortable with it. I guess my point is this. Roundabout way. I wish more people were accepting of these kinds of things when it's done without a negativity. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and I get your point, and I can understand that. I guess the difficulty is, again, you flip it, and all of a sudden, Colin, uses it a term, black, just use, it becomes a very negative thing, and then all of a sudden, people are raising their eyes and saying, "Hey." Do we have an issue here? And so that's where, from my standpoint, I can understand from culture. You're saying get it out there. I just, for me, the way I was raised, man, I choose not to use those kind of associations, and I really do. You know me better than everybody. A lot of people have been around me. I do not see color at all.
But that for a second. So let me throw this at you. I know we're going in left field here. So you're playing ball in playgrounds in New York City, and that word is used all the time on a lot of courts.
That's right.
You grow up there, you might have a different attitude of that word.
There's no question, because it's, again, you mentioned it early. It's part of the culture. It was not part of my culture because it wasn't tolerated in my home the way I was raised, right? And so it wasn't the way that I see things. People see things differently.
Let me go one step further on your side. I think the world of your dad. You know that. Okay.
Yeah.
To know him at the Y and stuff like that. And I think Phil is a great man, and I understand. I'm assuming your mother is the same way, because usually couples are like that. It's not usually one. It can be one, but it's not usually one. And I can see how that wouldn't be part of your culture as a young man growing up. Easily knowing your dad. Easily. he's like a crazily doting grandfather, which is a beautiful thing. Okay, I just wanted to throw that at you. We've done 25 minutes of not football. The hell.
That's all right, though. It's about life, and I appreciate it, man. You know that.
Besides, you're not pigeonholed into just football. It's one of the reasons why I appreciate you. So, all right, we're going to go football. Look, the hype is on, okay? And I'm all for the hype, okay? And on paper, Stein and his staff did a hell of a job in the portal. I mean, this could be the best line and should be the best line since the big blue wall. I'm not going to say it's going to be better. It might be. I don't know yet. But on paper, it looks really good. And although offensive lines take longer to come together, there's a yes and no to it. I believe, because the world has changed, guys and girls, but football's guys can get together quickly because they have to versus knowing you got 4 years. I think the process is sped up. So you might have a guy from Texas, a guy from Ohio State, a guy from Tennessee, whatever. And I think you can bond together by having meals and stuff like that because you got so many things in common anyway. The offensive linemen have a language of their own, and they're usually smart guys. There's very few dummies on the offensive line. When somebody said football players are dumb, really? Go sit in a room with offensive linemen. Besides, they'll want to kill you. I mean, talk to them. But that's not the only position. You know what I'm saying? But linemen are pretty smart too. It's not the only position. So, I can see you saying linebackers are smart too. I can feel you coming through Zooms. The point is this. I really like what he's done on paper. What say you, Deuce Williams, former Studley linebacker for Bill Curry at the University of Kentucky?
Well, first thing, before I get into it, I'm going to give you that answer. I've got to, and I hate to do this, man. I hate to do this. I got to apologize. I got to apologize to you.
Why?
And I got to give you credit for something. So months ago, we had conversation after Vince left, and you said to me, Vince, it wasn't that he wasn't a great recruiter, but it wouldn't have a big impact with him leaving as far as recruiting is concerned. And I disputed that. I thought that Vince brought a lot to the table as far as recruiting is concerned. And Coach Stein and his staff have proven me wrong 100%. They have done one heck of a job to go into the portal. And I know there's different rankings, but a top 10 class. And again, right, it's on paper and stars don't mean anything. I can tell you stories about stars, but if you look at what they brought in, the pieces that they brought in, and how quickly they made an impact, you got to give them an A. 100%. I am beyond thrilled with Coach Stein and the staff and what they've been able to do in a quick period of time. Phenomenal.
By the way, I do remember the conversation. I wasn't going to bring it up, and nice of you to bring it up, but you know what? I grow and change, and I still have a lot of growth to do. So let me ask you this. I don't remember if I knew this when you played. What star were you coming out of this great state of Pennsylvania?
It wasn't a very high one. I can tell you that. I don't know. I made some of the star teams, and I guess Max Infiger, I can't remember the guy's name. He put out rankings, and I was ranked on a couple of those things. But if I had to put a star on me, just thinking, and I don't know what it was, I probably was a 3-star type of a guy, right? And so I wasn't a 5-star recruit by any means. And I think that's my point. Like, stars are great, and I hope that the stars translate on the field based on the class that we got. But really comes down to, you got to, when the whistle blows, it's you against everybody else and that man in front of you. And at that point, there is no stars. How tough are you, and you're going to get the job done or not? And so we'll see. But I'm super excited. You can't have more buzz right now with the program. I listened to Coach Stein's. He had a press conference, and somebody threw out a question about basketball and NIL and what kind of impact it's going to make, and what a class response that he made. It was, look, I went to 4 basketball camps, won 2 awards. I'm bought in. You're not going to get me to talk negatively about basketball or women's sports. I hope we have the best athletic organization in the country. And that's what you want to hear from a head coach, and good for him. I haven't got a chance to meet him yet, but I can't wait.
Good for you. Please say hi to Phil. Please say hi. Bless your brother. Appreciate you, and let's do it again soon. If you can squeeze me in next week or the week after, I appreciate you.
Sounds good, man. Take care. Good seeing you guys.
Back at you. Deuce Williams. He's a worldly kind of guy, isn't he?
He really is.
Would it surprise you? I know it's not. When I tell you he was a wonderful interview at Kentucky.
It checks out.
And I've told the story before. I'll just be really quick about it. But I made up something in Pittsburgh at KDKA called the Extra Effort Award. And they used to fly me in a helicopter every week. And I'd fly into the school. And then the helicopter would go up in the air. And then shoot me walking and stuff like that. And they'd get shots of the helicopter. Because my camera guy would get down. They would drop the camera guy. I would stay in the helicopter. We'd go up. And then they would shoot me coming down in the helicopter and getting out of the helicopter. That was always the first shot. And then we do, a little ceremony in front of the whole school and stuff like that. And we get these letters. We got tons of letters. And they weren't all great athletes, but they had to be great students. Well, he was one of the many, not all of them, one of the many that was a big-time athlete and a big-time student. Lo and behold, how the hell do I know? I didn't know I was coming back to Lexington. Come back to Lexington, he's on the football team. What are the odds of that?
It's funny how the world works.
Yeah, it really is. And I remember the first time we just started laughing when we saw each other. I mean, what? Like, what the hell are the odds? The odds of good basketball conversation coming up next are very good because Doug Barnes, dear friend, former assistant coach at the University of Kentucky, coming up next. Don't forget about my friend Terry Page, a great licensed massage therapist. As I keep on saying, I don't understand how she ever has an appointment. She is that good. Trust me, this is from my heart because we've become friends. She's been taking care of me for a lot of years, longer than me doing this radio show. Check her out. In Lexington, Thursday and Friday, in Butler, Monday and Tuesday, off Regency Road. Please use my name when you call or text 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. Terry Page, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment. Hit the text.
Hi, this is Patrick DiGiacomo, and this is why I would recommend Republic Bank. So, when the bank manager brought me over just to show me how their ITM works, he hit this button where an actual live person came on the screen, and she was so kind and helpful, and it just made me feel like, wow, I'm not dealing with just a machine, I'm dealing with somebody that's actually paying attention to what I'm doing, and it made me feel really good.
And that's how Republic Bank helps their customers go from living to thriving. Learn more at republicbank.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler from the depths of Mammoth Cave to the rugged cliffs of Red River Gorge to the muddy boots and long days in Daniel Boone National Forest and every back road that gets you there. Your adventures are built for Subaru with legendary, symmetrical, all-wheel drive, proven safety, and the durability Quantrell Subaru is known for. You can push farther, stay longer, and explore without hesitation. Right now, 0% APR financing on new 2025 Subaru Outback models through February 2nd, 2026. Built for Kentucky, ready for anywhere. Quantrell Subaru. Visit QuantrellSubaru.com. See dealer for details.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Uncle Rick, warm yourself up with a hot coffee or cappuccino at Clark's Pub and Shop.
What?
Cappuccino. And while you're there, be sure to pick up some of our in-store specials. We have assorted Hershey, Reese, Kit Kat, and Payday king-size candy bars. Buy one, get one for $1.
I feel warmer already. Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcast podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
I love guys that love themselves, and he's trying to love himself right now. He's trying to love what makes him special. He had the most important rebound in the entire game to close out. We're small on the floor. We got BG out there. They're running around, and they get up a shot, and there's kind of a free rebound, and he just goes and grabs it. It was pretty much game. That was pretty much game. There could have been some other things that went wrong, but he was great as a secondary guy in transition, had a couple great plays to the rim. He was great defensively. You just feel like you're never at a deficit when he's switching on to anybody. He brings energy. We need him to be more and more and better, but he's important for us. And
there you have it. That is Mark Pope talking about Mo Diabate. And as I mentioned yesterday, without looking it up, Jimmy wasn't 11.8%. He was shooting from downtown. He was 2 of 17. And so my thought was, oh my gosh, he's going to hit three threes, 3 out of 4, and I'll look silly. But I stand by what I said. He's just not a 3-point shooter. But Mo Diabate, just in 2-point shots, is well over 60%. It's pretty impressive. You can say he's in close. I don't give a rat's. You're putting the ball in the hole. He had 9 points and 6 rebounds last night, plus 5 of 6 from the line, and that was a huge rebound. And he's playing his toughness. And I really believe that he was trying to show NBA people I can do all these kinds of things, and some of them are not part of him. And he's getting back to being who his strength is, which is a tough, hard-nosed player, which this team really needs. Maybe 9 points in 15 minutes. And he'll probably play a little bit more now that Cam is out, which kind of breaks my heart as it did with Lowe getting out. It's just awful for those two kids. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a longtime friend, a guy I respect a lot, assistant coach under Eddie Sutton, the one, the only Doug Barnes. Hello, Doug. How are you?
Well, Chris, I'm doing great. What a big win for the Cats last night.
As a coach, what I've been saying, and I said this a couple games ago, this could be the start of a change. Now, to me, it is a change, but give me a second and then you tell me. I credit Pope. I credit the players who've bought in. I credit everybody. They've changed. They've really changed. And it's like Pope has figured out the team, and the team now understands their roles, which I'm not sure was true. And I'm not being negative towards Lowe. I wish the kid the best luck and gets back 100% and learns to maybe pass a little bit more instead of shoot first. And I hope he comes back better than ever, but Aberdeen is a better player. But I think these kids have just really bought in, and they've banded together and shown a hell of an amount of toughness that after that first comeback win in LSU, maybe I'm guilty, didn't give them enough toughness. It was, oh my God, they came back. It was lucky and tough, but not that tough. But I think these kids are tough. As a coach, Doug, as you watch all these games, tell me about the change that you've seen in this team over the last 3 games.
Well, obviously, Alan, it's been a good change. But, I just don't think fans and even, former players or whatever, times have just changed so much. And that trying to get a team to play as a team, in my opinion, it's got to be so much tougher than it was before the transfer portal and the NIL and stuff. And when I say that, you've got all these new players coming into your system that you kind of got to figure out their strengths and their weaknesses, their personalities, and and come up with a combination of that you put out on the floor that they all complement each other. In the days, I always thought Coach Calipari did a great job of getting his incoming freshmen, who all were, highly recruited, to play together. But, there's a lot of difference in getting 4 or 5 freshmen to join your juniors and seniors on a team and come up with a good mix on the team, than dealing with people that are seniors and have been starters on other teams. I just think that's got to be a tough thing to do and stuff. And I do think that with Coach Pope and his staff, that early they were just really struggling trying to figure out what the best. It's not necessarily the best players. either, in my opinion, Alan, that you put on the floor. It's ones that play play together the best, and I just think sometimes that just takes time. And in this case, I think that's kind of what's happened with the Cats this year.
Was that true? When I'm purposely not saying the good old days are better, and I'm not saying it's better or worse. But did you find when you were a head coach in small college level and when you were an assistant coach big time here, did it take as long as it seems now, or is it just that it's getting a lot more publicity, in your opinion, for coaches to figure teams out? Give me a second, a little bit more. Sean Miller's hell of a coach. I saw a soundbite about a week ago where he was talking about he was just figuring out the team. Cal used to say it, and initially I thought, you're supposed to be better than this, and then I retracted it and said, you know what? I'm starting to get what he was saying. He would say it would take quite a while for him to figure his team out. And it's a popular thing for coaches to say. I don't know if it's an excuse. I don't think it is. It could be partially, or coaches are comfortable saying it. I think it's true, and you're seeing teams really improve during the season. Like Pitino didn't figure out his team, and he's changed his team a ton, and they're tons better now than they were when they played against Kentucky. Is this the norm in today's basketball society, or was it there when you were coaching, but it wasn't talked about by coaches in the media? I'm trying to get a handle on that.
Well, I just think it's just a different time, Alan. Like I say, when I was a head coach, I always had at least 5, 6, 7, or 8 players returning, and then I was bringing in new players to mix with those. But this day and time, you're bringing in almost 2/3 of your team new, and then they all had different roles where they play. And again, they're not freshmen. I think I was always impressed that Coach Calipari got these all-stars to play as a team, player. I thought he did a great job of doing it. But there's a difference between a freshman and a senior, that's been at a couple of other programs or whatever. I just think that this day and time, to figure that out, just even with the best of situations, takes some time and stuff. And to Coach Pope's credit and his staff, I think they're starting, with the SEC, they were still trying to figure it out a little bit. And I think, and this is bad to say though, Alan, but I think some injuries may have helped eliminate some people from the equation and given some people some more minutes and seeing them play as a team better. So prior to that, I just think it's much, much tougher than when I was involved, for sure.
Is part of that the media? Because of the great deal of attention that the media, and it's not like there wasn't attention, but when we would do our daily thing, coming down to UK practice, there were usually 3 TV cameras, okay? And Tipton was there, a couple of writers, and occasionally, not often, somebody from the smaller towns would show up. They might show up to games, but they wouldn't show up to practice every day. The point being, it wasn't a lot of people that would show up when Joe B., for example, when I first got here, would allow you to go every day to practice. You can't do that now. And you could talk to kids for about 15 minutes before, and Joe was always accessible. And then when he blew the whistle, that was it. You were done. And that's fair. And that's fair. And there were times you could shoot, like when they were just, shooting free throws, and that's fine. But when practice was there, you had to scurry. And more than fair, because it's his office. I get it. But there's a ton more pressure on coaches and players today with everything going on. There's a lot more money. There's no question about that, even before the money. Is that amplifying this situation much, much, much worse?
Well, I think it goes into the equation, yeah. But again, I don't know how you handle a locker room when you have people getting paid different amounts to play. And I know they do in the pros. When I mention that, I get corrected on that. But you're dealing with adults, a lot older, and it's a business. But anyway, I just think there's a lot of factors that goes into it nowadays, and with the social media, that you got all this stuff going on. it's got to be tough. But Alan, I would like to say, I thought the Cats against Texas really played better defense, and I think it really helped them. And the one thing that we don't discuss about, I don't hear much about at all, but it's so important, is, the Cats did not put Texas to the line. And, a team that usually shoots a number of free throws only shot, last night only shot 12. And they're like one of the number one teams. That was really the difference in the game because, the Cats ended up shooting 27 free throws. And that's a big difference that you got to make up.
Can I correct your numbers? But you're right, because I talked about it in the monologue. And as soon as the game was over, because I have complained about free throw shooting, as Jimmy says, more than any other person he's ever heard. I've done this forever, way before the show. They shot 85.7% and made 30 of 35. And if they shoot 66%, which they've done in other games, they lose the game. The other thing was, and you're right about everything you say, I just want to correct the numbers if you don't mind me correcting the numbers. I got them in front of me.
Yeah, I can't read my computer. Yeah, okay.
You got to put, I got trifocals, Doug. Trust me, I understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Texas was number one in the country in free throw attempts and in some sort of sliding scale with with field goals attempted. They were averaging 29 free throws per game, and they only took 20 last night. So Kentucky had 15 more attempts. They made 18, which was 90%. But what I loved about Sean Miller, and I love this. How many times have we seen, like, when there's a huge disparity, a coach says, well, it wasn't fair. He said, no, it was fair. We fouled too much. That's on us. And I really liked it. And I thought the free throw line was the difference because with all the good things that happened to Kentucky last night, they shoot 66% and they lose the damn game. They lose the game.
Yeah.
And so,
no question.
That is huge. And the big guy who's number one in the country about getting to the free throw line per attempts, they kept him off the line. I thought Marino was spectacular. So I did it in the monologue about free throws, and I did it immediately after the game. That was my post on Twitter. Aren't you so proud of me?
Well, I am. And Alan, as a head coach I was a head coach for 9 years, and before that, playing. I never understood really the importance of not putting people in the one-on-one. But when I worked for Coach Sutton, that's one thing that he really emphasized, and I can't remember the stats of it, and the stats are out there, where the team gets in the one-on-one the first in a game wins it's high, like 70 or 80% of the time. So to play good defense and not put people to the line, it really increases your chances of winning.
I knew the percentages were high. I always knew that, but I didn't realize it was that high. So throw this at me. We got about 2 minutes. I think thing has changed. I started a couple weeks ago saying there's hope for Pope. That's what I started putting up after the LSU game, just to be specific, whatever date. I don't know about ceilings, but I really believe that this team can still get better. And a little example last night that I've made a big deal out of, Yelovich with the 7 rebounds was terrific. He played 17 minutes and 46 seconds and was a plus 18, which was second on the team to Marino at plus 19. But he made a tough bucket that he banked it in. It was kind of twisting to give Kentucky the lead for the last time, 57-56. I thought it was huge because when you get a contribution from a young man, it wasn't Owe, right? And it wasn't Aberdeen. It was somebody else that you wouldn't expect to make the big bucket. I thought it was huge. So they're getting contributions from a lot of people. My point is this, and then please answer and I will shut up. I don't know what it is, but I think this team can still get much better, Doug Barnes.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any question. And part of that, though, Alan, is not having 10 and 12 people play in the game. Finally coming up. I just think going back to the old school is 7 and 8 players in the rotation and stuff. And I think it's helped form I think they execute the offense better, all this because they're more used, that group is used to playing together. And I think it's ended up being helping the Cats, the fact that the number of people playing has decreased and stuff. Because I just think you got to have that familiarity with your teammates that it really helps execute an offense.
Doug, always fun. Please give yourself a great plug for Pop-A-Lock. What you do in Lexington is Louisville. We have a bunch of folks listening online in Louisville and the podcast in Louisville and other places. So please give yourself a great plug.
Well, if you need a locksmith for anything, we do autos, we do homes, we do businesses, give us a call. If you can't remember a number, be sure that you look up Pop-A-Lock, because there's people out there that are not legitimate that you don't want to call. But our number in Lexington is 253-OPEN-6736, and in Louisville, of course, it's 502-895-OPEN with 6376. But give us a call and check us out, and make sure that you get a legitimate locksmith for your needs.
Hey, bless you, pal. Appreciate your friendship as always, and hope everything is well.
Yep. All right. Thanks. It'll be a big week. The next couple of weeks are big weeks for the Cats, and hopefully the Cats are ready.
Yeah, I think they are. Thank you, Doug. Doug Barnes, former UCAS basketball coach. Been a dear friend for a long time. I know we only have about a minute, but I got to tell you, the Reds got big help yesterday. Jimmy, this is big help for the Reds because all-star right-hander Freddie Peralta has been traded to the Mets. This broke last night for two really good prospects. And so Milwaukee gets rid of players. He was going to be a free agent after this year. They were not going to sign him, and they're really good. I've been calling them the Tampa Bay of the National League for quite a long time, Jimmy. You know that. And they did it again. They took two really good prospects. Will they be as good as Peralta? Probably not. But they did a really good trade with the Yankees that way, too, and they got a hell of a third baseman. Hell of a young third baseman, and I was ticked that the Yankees gave him up, but that's neither here nor there. Now Williams is gone, but that's neither here nor there. This is huge for the Reds. This, right now, in my humble opinion, makes Reds the favorite to finish in second place in their division. Second place. I can't predict them beating the Cubs. Cubs are good. Cubs are good. But I can see with what the Reds have done and with help from Milwaukee that they will finish in second place. That would be a beautiful, beautiful thing. Want to thank Doug Barnes. Want to thank Deuce Williams. Want to thank Travis Ford. Jimmy, as always, appreciate you tremendously. Thank you for listening. Please tell one friend, whether you're listening on 1300 AM, 92.5 FM, or on the ESPN Lexington app, or the podcast later today, or